we felt that the community was a very important part in making sure that we create a very dementia-friendly kind of environment. So it's not just the physical environment, but also like the software of it.
Hi, Aunn Ning. Thank you so much for coming down today. I understand that you're an architecturally trained researcher and you worked on this very interesting project with the Singapore University of Technology and Design. Can you tell me about that?
So the project is called the Dementia-Friendly Neighbourhood Project, and it was done as a study because with the increasing rates of people projected to get diagnosed with dementia, we kind of needed to figure out how to make our public estate more dementia-friendly.
Yeah, because I understand that our longevity is now projected to extend to 100 years old, and people who are above 85 have up to a 30% likelihood of getting dementia, right?
It is kind of with this in mind, and the fact that we have a very dense and a very, very tightly packed kind of a housing condition. How do we actually design our neighbourhood estates so that it becomes more friendly for people living with dementia as well as their caregivers, so that they can continue to live in place and live a fulfilling life even after they've been diagnosed without the need to sort of pluck them out from their existing homes and move them into a completely separate and foreign environment.
I see.
Yeah, which we also do not have the resources for.
We don't have the space.
Yeah, we don't have the space or the resources to sort of just funnel that into like specific dementia complete care kind of facilities that they do have overseas.
Since this is a project by the Singapore University of Technology and Design, can you tell me about some of these design elements that you found can actually help with making a neighbourhood dementia-friendly?
We call it the plus, minus, multiply, divide principle. For a lot of the older people, right, the way that they navigate their environment is actually through mental anchors. So they'll be like, oh, this place beside the playground, by the coffee shop, from the car park. So there's a lot of this kind of landmarks, mental landmarks that they have in their neighbourhood. So what we want to make sure is that when we create spaces for them, or we intervene in the physical design of spaces, and then now that space becomes a landmark for you. So if you're ever lost in your environment, hopefully that becomes one of the things that jump out at you and you kind of recall it. Minus would actually be the more of a reductionist approach. There's a lot of visual input. There's a lot of things that we're seeing, sounds we're hearing, especially in our very population dense area. So when we do interventions, we also want to recommend that you try to keep things simple and then you do not try to over-stimulate and create too many things for them to be distracted by.
What about multiply?
We want to make sure that the effect of whatever we do, right, is multiplied onto the caregiver. When we design that kind of play equipment in our final prototype, we also encourage that the caregivers engage in the games. It's not like I send you to the daycare,
right,
and then I sit outside and wait for 1 hour.
And what about divide?
Okay, so divide is this principle whereby we understand that sometimes things can get a little bit daunting. Understanding that the huge change in lifestyles is actually very jarring for them, we realize that whatever we want to introduce to them, we need to make sure that it can be absorbed into their lives incrementally. The other things that I would say that design intervention can do for hardware, for physical spaces, would also be to create spaces that are integrated with other parts of the society. So it's not like you need to travel really out of place, but just within your neighborhood area, they find a space that people can go to for enquiries about dementia. They can go for inquiries about caregiver support. They might have a localized gym. They might have a cafe in the same space, so that different people from the neighborhood can come together to use that space. So it doesn't become an isolated this place is only for people with dementia. Their space is just for them. You try to create more opportunities for the community to interact and to build an understanding of each other.
What is your vision for the future of dementia-friendly neighbourhoods?
I would say that communities require time to be built. Yes, so dementia-friendly community is something that needs to happen quite organically over time. Yes, so if we want to build that, I think we have to start early. And we are starting already because we have seen a lot of this kind of initiatives popping up all over Singapore. So what I really hope is that all this will come together into something that's scalable. It needs to be a must-have in our estates.
By also starting with ourselves to create that community of supporting each other.
Community is made out of all of us. Yes.
Well said. Thank you very much, Aunn Ning.
Thank you, no problem.
Okay, Claire, any other questions? Oh, hi!
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you so much.